Hey guys, welcome back to Ranger Survival and Fieldcraft. I'm Andrew, and what I have for you today are the 3 levels of military survival. Stand by. Alright guys, so another down and dirty video today on the Tough Box here, the 3 levels of military survival. This is just a helpful way for us to actually carry or cross-load our survival kit. So level 1 is going to be what's in the pockets. Level 2 is going to be on our flick, our plate carrier, on our fighting rack, whatever it is. And then level 3 is going to be what's inside the assault bag or the rucksack. Let's go. All right, so for that pocket kit or for that level 1 kit, we're going to have, strictly by the manual, a cutting tool of some sort, just some sort of knife in our pocket. I prefer straight blade as opposed to serration. That way we can get the full carving effect for processing materials out, plus processing game, or whatever we need a cutting blade for. It goes right in our pocket, a little pocket clip, utility knife, perfect. We also have cordage. This is about 25 feet of paracord right here. If we're going civilian clothes, we can always carry a smaller hank in that front pocket. If we don't have cargo pants, this is about 10 feet right here or so. But a large hank of paracord in our pocket doesn't take up too much space, and we can use it for a variety of things. Everything paracord can be used for in survival. Next, we just have a signaling mirror. A signaling mirror can be seen from a long ways off. This thing has been used and abused, and you can see it's all nice and dirty. But that signaling mirror, a signal, but doubles as a hygiene item where we can actually look at our beautiful face as we're scraping it with a razor or brushing our fangs inside the patrol base. Just some sort of signaling device that we can use during daylight hours to signal aircraft or friendly forces. And then next we need some sort of fire starting device. Now obviously that lighter is going to be that #1 device. In one of my last videos I showed you how to save a drowned lighter and then use this to actually help get a fire going while it was raining outside. Notice we still have the 100-mile-an-hour tape wrapped around this one. Do that to all my lighters. Highly recommend you do it as well. This is going to be our #1 fire starting device. And then lastly, this is something I add to my pocket kits, and that's just some sort of snack or some sort of calorie bar here. Here we just have peanut butter from an MRE. It's like one of my old instructors said, always have a knife, way to start fire, and then a snack in your pocket. So this is the pocket kit. All right, so next is going to be that level 2 kit. By the manual, this is going to be the level 2. Goes in our rack, on our fighting vest, in our flick. Going to have a lot of items to help make survival that much more possible. With our pocket kit, we're relying on the bare minimum. With this kit, we have some of those smaller items or necessary items to actually go after game, to help signal, help purify water or treat that water to make it safe to drink, as well as some medical aid items that we could use in a pinch. So let's crack it open. Notice we have a waterproof container, and we've got that Ranger band on the outside. Can be used as a flame extender as well for fire starting. And then this is waterproof. We have electrical tape all around it. Now if I could just find the end of that tape. And I'll put a lot of electrical tape on my boxes just to have that extra tape. Again, another flame source, plus we can use it for taping stuff up. All right, so here is the kit. This is stuff that is lightweight, easy for us to find just around the house, in the medicine cabinet, in the closet, in the junk drawer. This is designed to be lightweight. We don't need a survival kit that's going to weigh 10 pounds. The ammunition we're going to have on our front is going to do that for us. We need something that's lightweight, easy, portable, but still gives us possibilities in survival. Plus, if we drop this thing or lose it or separate it from it for some reason, we're not out $1 million. Right on top, we've got aluminum foil. Aluminum foil has a variety of uses. We can use this, turn it into a cup origami style, folding it down and then putting it in a fire or over fire with water inside to boil that water to make it safe to drink. We could use this as another reflector for the sun's rays as a signaling device. We could use this for cooking. We could use it for creating a track by opening this up, placing our boot print on it and making an impression, then leaving that behind for search and rescue in a permissive environment. A lot of good uses for aluminum foil. Next, we have a quote-unquote survival knife. For the money and for the size, I think the Buck 55 is going to be the perfect survival tin knife, unless we go with like a small multi-tool. But this is heavy duty for as small as it is. Good for notching, carving, cutting materials. We don't want to baton with this. Plus, it's very short. We're not going to be batoning with it anyway. But it's still a really good knife. File off the back, create that 90-degree edge for a ferro rod if we want to. But a great small survival knife inside this tin. Really good. Next, got some medication. Benadryl for allergies. I just recently went through a little hike with some family members and we got lost or turned around, misplaced if you were. We weren't lost, we were misplaced. That's a military term. And we had to walk around this body of water up through all of this terrain and thickets, and we were covered with ticks, and then we had shorts on because we're always prepared, and had a little bit of an allergic reaction, so this could help in a pinch to keep that itching and scratching down just a little bit. Just some medication that we can put in here. The kit calls for medical items. It doesn't say exactly what we should have, so it's kind of up to us to choose anyway. Next, we've got a series of hooks on a safety pin. Just a great way to carry fishing hooks, large hooks, small hooks, medium hooks for all types of fish, just right there. Snare wire. Snare wire for the kit. I recommend carrying picture hanging wire, and the reason is because with this wire, or unroll it here, a lot of this wire is going to be multi-strands, meaning that we can actually take some of this wire and break it down, making smaller snares out of it if we want to, and then creating just simple snares. This gives us one giant snare if we want it, or we can take it apart and create multiple smaller snares, going after smaller game, obviously, and have that much more chance of getting a meal from off the landscape using picture hanging wire. So that's just a trick right there. So that's something we can throw in there, very cheap, easy to find. We can take down that picture that's hanging over the mantle and then steal the wire off the backside and then just prop up that picture on the mantle, and household 6 will never be the wiser. Household 6 is slang for the wife. Good to go. All right, next, more medication items. Ibuprofen, pain relief, fever relief. We've got just bandaging material. This is that waterproof material that comes in a roll like this, just the NextCare 3M stuff. And this is waterproof, adhesive, it tears easily, so we can wrap it around Band-Aids that we have in our kit to make sure that Band-Aid holds on. That way it's not sliding off if we get wet or anything like that. So we can use this to help keep a Band-Aid on longer, or even use this as an adhesive dressing itself. Just something easy to have, a good technique. And then a small Purell packet. It's always good to keep sanitized out there, especially dealing with raw meat, or if we have to utilize the tree line and clean up after we go. We can use this. Plus, this is a fire starter. We can actually crack open the hand sanitizer and use it as a fire starter with our lighter to give us tinder that's ready to go to help burn or start a fire, get it going into a sustainable level for us. This is just something nice to have in that kit. Again, a medical item, but it can also be used for fire starting. Next, we've got water purification tablets. So we got 10 quarts right there. Next, just another signaling device. We have that mirror in our pocket already, so why not carry an auditory signal for emergencies? We got this whistle that we can use, 3 whistle blast, international signal of distress. Plus it's P-less, so it's silent as we walk. Next, we've got iodized salt, part of our medical kit. We can use this as an oral rinse if we have any tooth problems. Plus we can use it as an electrolyte, just dump it into our water a little bit, get the sodium and those electrolytes back into our system to stay hydrated and retain water if we're in a hot and tropical humid environment. Antibiotic ointment for those areas that we get lacerations, cuts, abrasions, all that stuff. You can use this to go over those small affected areas, just another comfort item to help prevent infection, especially in a jungle or tropical environment where a small laceration or cut to the skin can become infected fairly easily. So we have antibiotic ointment to help fight infection. Next, alcohol prep pads, clean a small injury. Plus, these can be used as fire starters as well, similarly to that hand sanitizer packet. So multifunctional items that can clean an injury or help clean a wound, as well as act as tinder. Next, we've got 3 Band-Aids. With these Band-Aids, they already have built-in antibiotic ointment on the pad, so we don't need to apply that antibiotic ointment that we have earlier, but it's always good to have extra just in case, or if we have to use improvisationally this tape with that ointment over a small cut or laceration to our fingers or digits, wherever. But we have 3 Band-Aids right here that can be easily applied already with that ointment on there to help treat and fight infection. Next, we just have a small spool of fishing line. The fishing kit, as part of this kit, calls for fishing line, hooks, and sinkers. So we already had our hooks, and now we have our sinkers. and then our line wrapped up right there. That sewing bobbin is a good technique for putting a lot of line on here. It's about 15 feet or so of line. And then our sinkers combined with those hooks we had earlier gives us a really nice fishing kit. With this kit and that 550 cord that we have as part of our pocket carry, we could use it for a night line or a trot line. We can make a hobo reel, a cane pole. We can do a lot with just a basic kit like that. Even leave out traps if permissive. We go after all that game and attempt to feed ourselves. Fish first. And we have a small, long razor blade. This razor blade's part of the medical kit. We can use it to cut down material or shape those bandages as we need to. Plus, we can use this to help process game. And then lastly, just a small button compass. That small button compass so we can quickly find our cardinal directions. This one is pointing in the right direction. Perfect. And we can move out, whether it's north, south, east, or west, or we could just gain that basic cardinal direction very quickly and then move out in the direction of travel. And after that, terrain associate or even use this to help build a map of the area or a terrain model if we don't have pen and paper. Go out and continue to survive until we're eventually rescued. And that's it for the level 2 kit. And before I forget, something else we can do with this kit, it doesn't say to have bobbers, and we really don't want to have bobbers as part of our fishing kit anyway, because bobbers hang above the surface, obviously, and can be seen by anybody who happens to walk by that body of water. Typically, bodies of water where a lot of people are going to congregate, and if we're a non-permissive environment, we don't want to have anything sitting on top of the water that's going to give indication or make our presence known. What we can do, however, is take a bobber and spray paint it, or paint it a dark color. That way it sits on top of the water surface and is less likely to be noticed. And we can place that in our kit as part of our fishing kit as well. And then the other thing I wanted to show you, a trick from the last video or second to last video, whenever it was, is earplugs. Earplugs make great fishing bobbers. All we have to do is feed the line through the earplug or just tie it around somehow. We can use this as a bobber in the water as well. So a couple different options right there. And then lastly is the Ruck kit or the level 3 kit. Now the level 3 kit is going to have more of the same items that we had in the previous 2 kits. So more cordage, more cutting tools, more medications, different water treatment items, and more iodine tablets or whatever we have. But this kit right here are the things that stand out as part of that level 3 kit. And that level 3 kit is really focused on providing shelter for us. The level 1, level 2 kit, you'll notice there's really no shelter items besides maybe a knife and some cordage to take down natural materials and build a shelter. But with this, we have a small shelter right here. All we're going to need is some natural materials to help create a bed and tie up our shelter, and we're done. We have something we can sleep in. And this is exactly what we slept in during certain portions of survival training. So notice how small this package is. You can actually throw this in our cargo pocket or assault bag if you wanted to. We have our bungee cords wrapped around. Easy way to get these off is to just pull them off the side. There's one bungee cord. There's 2 bungees. And we can use these for shelter items, and they also help retain our kit. So we got this folded up, beautiful poncho. That's our tarp item. Inside we have more cordage. It's about 50 feet of paracord, something to help us get our shelter up. We're gonna have 4 tie-out points with a poncho, 5 if we go with the hood, depending on the shelter style that we wanna make. Anything from a plowshare to a lean-to to an A-frame, and then even a low pro shelter. We're gonna need some cordage to help with that, but additionally, that bungee cord, those extra bungee cords inside the kit are gonna help us get that shelter tight so it'll withstand any elements or any rainfall or wind. So we got another bungee cord right there. We got just a small commando saw. The kit calls for some sort of other cutting tool, either a hatchet or a saw. So we can use our commando saw. You could even go with a large pocket chainsaw. This might actually be better just to take down material, but it makes a larger mess as compared to our small wire saw here. Plus this comes with a second blade, just in case the first one breaks. Oh, inside we also have a thermal blanket. Now it recommends having a tarp or some sort of poncho as well as a thermal blanket. This blanket we can wrap up in, sit next to a tree, or even wrap around ourselves with a small fire underneath us in some sort of cat hole or something, or even with a candle, and use that to stay warm, maintain heat and thermal regulation, keeping a lot of that heat inside the shelter and keeping the cold out as best as possible. But we have just a waterproof shelter here, the waterproof poncho, our cutting tool, that commando saw. the spare bungee cords to help set up our shelter. And all we have to do now is just fold this guy back up into a very tight, neat package. And then from here, grab one of our bungees, string it up, pull it around, and lock it in to that bite. One can work, but we'll do two. Careful with bungee cords, especially with the hooks. These little rubber covers like to fall off, and then all you're left with is this sharp, jagged edge that could puncture your poncho. So just make sure they're facing up top, and not down into the material. And then there is our level 3 kit from the manual, minus all the extra stuff that comes from level 1 and level 2. But there's level 3, nice, neat, small package. All right, guys, just a down and dirty video today. I really appreciate you joining me for this one. It's been kind of a hectic week, finally moving the family and everybody up to the new place. And if I could show you around the building right now, it's just a complete mess. So I appreciate you sharing just another tabletop discussion and video with me today. More to come in the future, greater and better videos for sure. But if you like this video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, leave me a comment in the comment section. I always appreciate your feedback. I want to thank you guys for everything you do for me, for this channel, for your likes, your views, your subscriptions, your comments, your feedback, and your shares. And I'll be back with another video as soon as I can, guys. Thanks.